Hello friends, welcome to our channel. You Can Be. Everyone knows that agriculture is playing an important role all over the world. In India, 50% of our population is dependent on agriculture. But there are many problems in taking care of agriculture. In that, one of the problems is monitoring the water level in the field while watering. Every farmer is aware of how much time the water supply have to be provided to the field. So they switch on the power supply and will go away and return after 2 or 3 hours to the field to put off the motor. If the field may be so far, or if he have any work to go out, it will be unable to put off the motor to him. And if by mistake if he forget to switch off the motor, then the major problem arises, that is oversupply of water. Too much supply of water may suffocate the plant roots and plants couldn't survive. And also here returning to the field to switch the motor consumes the time and utilizes the energy of a human. So to reduce the work of a human returning to the field to put off the motor and not to supply inefficient water to the crops, this project helps the farmer in the way of switching motor effectively based on a fixed timings. To overcome the problem, we are going to introduce the timer between the switch and the motor. Our project is timer-based automatic motor used in agriculture. This is a prototype using the Arduino. I think everyone is aware of timer switch. We are going to fix certain time limits in the timer. After fixing certain time limits, we are going to switch on the power supply. If the time is in the fixed time limit, then the circuit will be closed state, means the switch will be in on. If suppose the time limit get exceeded, then the circuit get opens, the switch will be opened, no power supply will be passed through the circuit. And in the present scenario, we are using the timer switch in number of applications like industrial applications, washing machines, in the street lights, in the geysers, in number of applications we are using these timer switches. So my idea is to use the timer even in the agriculture field also to switch the motor automatically using the timer. So here I am going to say that we can use the automatic timer switching even in the agriculture field also. If we put the timer between the switch and the motor by fixing the certain time limits, the motor will get put off automatically if it exceeds the time limit. That will be helpful to the farmers to continue with their work easily. Required components to build the circuit are Arduino Uno and 5 volts DC motor pump. Now let us see our execution of a program in Proteus. At first open Proteus and ISIS. Select all the required components from the peripheral devices. At first Arduino, here I am using Arduino Uno, so I am going to select Arduino Uno and then OK, paste it. And next from the peripheral devices, I am going to select switch, SWITCH and then OK, paste it. And then from the terminal node, I am going to select the power supply. And next, from the peripheral devices, I am going to select the resistor and then OK, paste it. And from the peripheral devices, I am going to select our last one, motor, and then OK, paste it. Now I am going to give the connections as per our required circuit. At first switch is connected to the main power supply and another end of the switch is given to the resistor and to the A3 pin. A3 pin takes the input from the switch and then resistor is connected to the ground. You can find ground in a terminal node, paste it. And we are getting the signal from the 11th pin. I am connecting from the 11th pin to the motor and then another end of the motor to the ground. And to see the time limit, I am going to select virtual terminal. 0th pin is connected to the transmitter and first pin is connected to the receiver. And I am going to give the power supply of 5 volts. Now let us discuss two cases here. In the first case, we are going to fix 20 seconds as a time limit in our controller. Okay, and I have given the power supply to the Arduino to the motor through the controller. And if we switch on the power supply, then the controller passes the signal to the 11th pin to the motor up to only 20 seconds. If the time limit get exceeded, automatically the motor get off, because here even though power supply is in on state, the controller doesn't pass signal to the 11th pin to the motor. So the motor will be in off state. In the second case, for example, I set the time limit for 20 seconds. Okay, and then I given the power supply. The signal will be passed through the Arduino board to the motor up to 20 seconds. That's the first case. In the second case, if suppose in the middle, means before 20 seconds, if the power supply is gone, then the time will get resumed in this Arduino board. The time will get resumed in the controller, and then later after getting the power, again the time starts from the resumed time and it will be continued for the remaining time. For example, I fixed the time limit for 20 seconds. The power has gone at 10 seconds. Then the time get resumed at a 10th second, and then later it will continuous from the 10th second up to the 20 second. So the motor will be in on state only for 20 seconds even though we have a power loss. This is our second case. Okay, let us see what is the code we are going to write in the Arduino to upload it. Now open Arduino IDE. This is our required code. Here A3 is our input terminal, 11 is our output terminal. A3 is connected to our switch and 11 is connected to our output. Here B is equals to 20,000, which means 20 seconds. 1000 is equals to 1 second, then 20,000 is equals to 20 seconds. Here our condition is A is less than B, which means if our time limit is less than 20 seconds, then the motor will be in high state, means it will run. And if suppose in the middle we have a loss of a power, then the time get resumed. A is equals to A. And then later after getting the power, again it will check the condition that whether the A value is less than a time limit or not. If it is less than the time limit, again it will run the motor, and if it get exceeded, then the motor will be in off state. This is our required code. Now compile it. After getting compiled, copy the path and then open Proteus. Paste the part in the Arduino and then OK. Now we are ready to run the program. Plus 5 volts, plus 5 volts. OK. And run the program. This is our terminal. Now I am going to switch on the power supply. After getting switch on, the motor is getting run and it will be run up to 20 seconds. We can see the time limit there. Motor is running up to 20 seconds. If suppose in the middle power has gone, the time will get resumed in the 11th second and the motor is in off state because controller is not passing the signal. And then later again I switched on, means power has come. Then the time get started running from the 12th second from the resumed state, and it will be continued up to 20 seconds. After reaching 20 seconds, even though power supply is in on state, the motor will be in off state, because here even though the power supply is in on, the controller is not passing signal after 20 seconds. That's why, because of not reaching the signal, motor is in off state. Let us see the hardware. This is our DC motor and this is the Arduino board, and this is our required circuit between motor and our main power supply switch. If the power supply is in on state, then the control signal will be given to the Arduino board and then the signal will be passed to the DC motor. Here the condition is we are going to set the time limit in our Arduino board through the coding. If the time limit exceeded than the given time, then the control signal won't be passed to the DC motor, so that even though the main power supply is in on state, the signal won't be transferred to the DC motor, and then motor will be in off state. Now let us see how the code is going to be run on. This is our required program. Now we are going to upload our code in the Arduino board. This is our main power supply switch. Now I am going to switch on the power. So motor is getting on, be in on state. So here time is getting to be run on. Up to 20 seconds the motor will be in on state. If suppose it reaches the time limit, then the motor will get off. Now the time limit get exceeded. After 20 seconds, automatically, even though the power supply is in on state, the motor get off.